Hello.
Hello. What's up,
What's up,
DJ?
man? How you doing?
Good. How you, boo boo?
I'm good, man.
How's your week, man?
My week was good. I had some vacation time set apart, so took last week off of work, and just kind of chilled around the house. It was kind of a bummer because I didn't get a chance to take off at the same time the kids had off of school.
Oh, that's right.
But I mean, a week off of work is a week off of work.
Yeah,
you know,
you're
I got a
right.
nice chance to just relax and chill and help out with the kids, doing this stupid online distance learning that drives me crazy.
That's crazy, huh?
Yeah, man, it's. I don't like it. I actually haven't. I've never talked to anybody that does like it. Everybody says it's crap, but so we did that, and then Friday I went indoor skydiving. Essentially,
Oh,
I sent
you
that
saw?
video.
Yeah, you sent me.
Yeah,
the vid-
man, it was fun, dude.
We didn't even talk about that. I forgot about
I know. It was fun, man. It was part of the Christmas present that Ronnie's brother gets the kids every year, like collectively as a big group.
it. Yeah.
They always get him like him and Maggie always get him like something big for all of them to do.
Wow.
And so this year it was indoor skydiving. And he bought a couple extra ones, and so all the kids got to go, and then he let me and Roger go too.
That is so.
And
dope.
man, it was
who,
fun.
Who was in the video that you sent? Was that you?
That was
'Cause
me.
That didn't look like you. I was
Yeah,
like,
that
this
was
doesn't
me.
look like
it was,
Jared.
dude. It was hilarious, bro. So when I went and then when Roger went, my mustache flipped up like
In
this.
front of your face?
Yeah, and so you could see like it just looked super weird. But Roger, he's got like a big full
Yeah,
beard.
that's right.
It looked like he was wearing like a beard mask.
Wow.
So it was all up here. It was hilarious.
What did
dude,
it
but-
feel like? Is it just like a fucking massive
dude?
fan?
So it's like like two big turbines from underneath, and you can't see. It's like a big net, but you can't
Okay.
see anything. Like people think like, oh, it's a big fan blade. No, it's just too big. Like
It just circulates air.
yeah. So it blows super super hard. But the funny thing is when you do like the little sign up, like the waiver, right? They say if you're over 300 pounds, you can't do it.
Oh.
But if you're like 260 to 300, you have to let the instructor know because apparently they got to turn the fan up.
max.
Yeah, dude. So I let them know. I was like, yeah, man, I'm pushing right there. So they're like, oh, okay, no worries. Because I think at first they were gonna have this one lady be our instructor, and then I told them that, and they brought up like a bigger dude to come do it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, Roger, he's probably like 215 maybe. Tops, dude. He's probably not even that heavy. But I was definitely up there, so I think that's why they switched over. But it's fun, man. It's super simple. But you just do like 2 1-minute flights. And do like this little course where they teach you like, cause you can't hear in there, so they teach you hand motions.
Yeah.
So when you're doing something that's not helpful, they'll do the little hand motion. You make your adjustment, and then they let you float. So I got it pretty quick, which is cool because then he let me do like some hand tricks. Literally, so you're floating, right? You're sprawled out on your tummy, right? And then so he kind of lets you go if you got it. If you got good control, he lets you go, and he's not holding you, and you're just kind of floating there. And then he was telling me to literally, dude, crazy. Just
I saw him. Yeah, I saw
tilt
him
your
say
hands and turn this way. Tilt your hands the other way, and you start turning this way.
And it worked?
That slight of a movement, just your hands, and you start spinning. Dude, it's crazy. Yeah.
So can you imagine if someone went skydiving and they panicked? Like just
Bro.
the movement in your arms would just completely fuck you up.
You'll spin out of control. You'd spin out of control. You'd lose it, dude. It'd be crazy. And then not only that, you'd be so disoriented from spinning.
Yeah.
And not sure which way is what's going on. Like, it'd be pretty wild, dude. But so we did that, and he said that for guys like our size, you're up to like hurricane type winds.
When you're
But
falling?
yeah, but it's the same wind speed as if you really jumped out of a plane. It's the exact same thing. The feeling is the exact same way. So then the second round we got to go high. So he takes you like 15, 20 feet up to the top of the little silo that's there. And you're like way up there, and then you drop. And you get like a little thing, and your stomach feels all like a roller coaster.
Oh no!
But you can
way.
feel the wind, dude, hitting you
So is the turbine on before you drop, or
yes, it's on.
So
it's
you
on,
just
and
like
you just
drop into the
there's
air.
like a little there's like a little doorway, and you put your hands outside, and you literally just like almost like roll your body into there, and then the wind catches you, and you just.
But you're like 25 feet up.
The second round, they do it. They have the guy hold you because he's experienced, and he takes you all the way up, and then you come all the way down, and you go all the way back up again. And then the more you go, the more they teach you, and the more they let you kind of play with things. It's cool, dude, because we were in there, and there were some people who clearly take it super serious. They got their own little like jumpsuit that's different, multicolored, and helmets
and shit.
And they're doing like crazy tricks in this thing. They're doing like gainers and all kinds of crazy stuff. But you can tell they're probably doing it to do like a real jump. Like they're really getting ready to practice to jump out of a plane and stuff. Yeah, it's fun.
So
all the kids did it. Dude, Ruby, daredevil. She was like, take me to the top, dude. And she was boom, giant smile on her face the whole time.
She looked like she was in her
Dude,
element.
she loved it, man. Loved it.
She did good.
Yeah, she did good.
So would you go skydiving?
I would absolutely go skydiving.
After that?
Absolutely.
So before
I would have gone before.
Oh, you okay?
Yep,
you
I would have gone before.
Okay.
That just solidified it.
But do you feel like knowing, like having this experience has prepared you to
Nah,
skydive?
I don't think so.
Do you think you would have completely fucked up skydiving if you didn't know how to do any of this shit?
Oh, for sure.
I'm sure they're not gonna let you skydive without teaching you.
Well, I was gonna say
shit.
I think you have to have so many jumps before you can even solo. You have to tandem jump
with somebody.
Yeah, you have to tandem jump. I don't even think they let you go by yourself. There's got to be a certain amount of jumps that
That's
they.
true, because people are gonna just spaz the fuck out and crash.
Yep.
Mayday.
Yeah,
That is so
it'll be pretty nuts. But it was cool, man. It was fun. We took Aubrey, my niece, like 2 years ago to the one in Paris, where you can do actual skydiving. But this one was in Ontario.
That's
It was
pretty
just a
dope.
little. That's all they do is in the indoor skydiving
indoor
stuff.
one.
Yeah. So it was
How
fun.
long
man.
was the wait? And then what was it like
Nothing.
with COVID and shit?
No, just wear your mask the whole time you're in there.
Okay.
When you jump, just tuck it under the chin strap of your helmet, and that's it. Nothing else. Nothing. No other big stuff.
don't
And
think
the only thing you
COVID
do is go in and you got to watch a video. Again,
Okay.
he teaches you your hand tricks, and then
Okay.
you're waiting and to jump.
So it's like going to K1 speed or something.
Absolutely, yeah, it's the same
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same thing, dude. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun, and they try to get you with like, oh, if you buy this package today, you save so much money off of your next visit, and we'll teach you more tricks. And so, but it was a good time. The kids all had a blast too.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah, dude. Jace freaked out though.
He did?
He was swimming he was on like this, swimming in the air. But he was a trooper, dude. He went back. He was so scared the first time. Came out, was scared, and then went back in the second time, even though he was scared. And he was like, "Dude, I'm doing it again."
And he did it.
Did it again, like a little trooper. But he was, dude. We got pictures of him swimming in the air because he was just like, I don't know what's happening. Body flailing.
He's just like,
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. But that was it. So that's kind of that was like the little exclamation point on the weekend or the week off that I had. Went back to work today. Today definitely felt like a Monday. So
That's dope, man. We got to take the kids to do that then. I've always wanted to go.
it's fun, bro.
I want to go skydiving, and I want to go diving with sharks.
I would do some stuff like the shark diving thing. Definitely skydiving. You know what? I find myself struggling to be okay with would be bungee jumping.
Oh, no, there's no way.
I don't know, and I don't know. It seems to be more safe than skydiving. But if I'm gonna die because of a fault of a piece of equipment, I'd rather be able to see everything when I'm
Yeah?
10,000 feet in the air,
Yeah.
rather than I'm like 100 feet off a bridge.
And you just and your bungee fails and you just crash into a concrete.
Game over.
Oh, man. I don't know, dude.
So
I don't know.
Bungee jumping just seems a little. Plus, I know it doesn't happen, but I fear the whip. Like I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know.
it just seems weird.
You know what? I think psychologically it feels like trying, like jumping out of the planes, like where we're just having fun, like jumping off the bed. But like jumping off a bridge is like I'm trying to kill myself.
Yeah, there's something
No
like
disrespect, but that's just what it feels
there's
like.
something finite about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is. And I'm just kind of like, oh, dude, what the fuck? Like, I wouldn't be able to bring myself to do it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's pretty. Yeah.
I'll go with you, though.
Just do it, bro.
I'll watch
Let's
you.
do it.
I'm like, Jaron, we'll say a prayer.
Yeah, let's just jump. Yeah, bro. It was cool because earlier that day too, we were watching Point Break, the old school one with Keanu Reeves, where they do the skydiving stuff.
Yeah. You guys are getting prepped?
I was ready mentally, dude. I was ready. I was ready, bro. It was fun though, man.
That's
cool.
funny.
But yeah, that was it, man. And then just watched the football over the weekend, and a couple things here and there. But it was cool. It was a nice start to the new year, not having too much on my plate.
Just chilling, huh?
Yeah, yeah. What about yours?
We were just chilling, bro.
Yeah.
We were chilling. We were hanging out. The kid's mom had some little thing with COVID going on, and the kids ended up coming over with it. So we had to quarantine ourselves for a couple days, unfortunately, which was some bullshit. But we did that. But we were just chilling, man. Like, we were literally in the house just chilling. We were playing card games.
Cool.
We were playing. I pulled out my little card deck. Sadie had this goldfish card deck we used to play with the kids, but it's like pictures. So it's like clownfish, clowns, shit like that. So I got out the real
It's like
cards.
elementary.
It's some elementary shit.
Yeah.
So I got the real cards out. So
do you have a starfish?
Yeah. Do you have a starfish? Do you have a clown?
You have an octopus.
Yeah. Oliver used to think that was a shit, but now we got out the other cards and we were fucking with those and they had a great time. It was super cool.
That's cool.
And so we were just playing games. We were playing bingo. We got bingo for Christmas. So we were playing bingo.
Yeah.
What else? I think that was all. That was it. That's all we did. And we were watching some movies. We watched Chef. We finally watched Chef because we were like, man, we keep seeing Chef every time we go to Jaren's house, but we always catch it at different spots.
Or we're doing some talking or whatever,
Yes,
and we never folks. Yeah,
and so
I love that movie, dude.
It's dope.
Love that
it's
movie.
Dope. So we
soundtrack
got to see
is
that.
fire
it's,
too.
Ridiculous, ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like you said, the cinematography is dope. So we got to watch Chef. We sat and we watched Chef, and we were just chilling, man. We ordered our groceries online, and like we literally just chilled. We cleaned up Saturday. Literally cleaned the house. I reorganized all the closets, and we were just chilling, dude.
Yeah.
Oliver helped me work on my rifle. He did I put a new bolt catch on the rifle, so he helped me put it on. So it was cool.
That's fun.
Yeah, it was cool, man. And that's it, man. We were just chilling and laughing. And Sienna went back to work, said he had school today. I worked some OT last night, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's back to the grind.
Yeah, back to the grind. I know it's tough, especially after, like, we got a bunch of holidays from, like, Christmas to New Year's, and then I took the week off last week, so it was tough, man, getting all those, like, 2-day work weeks, 3-day work weeks, and then a week off, and now I'm back to, like, I got a full work week, and I got a super, super heavy schedule and a lot going on, but... it's not too bad, man. It's good. I got a good group that steps up and keeps things going for me. So I say it's a pain in the butt and it felt like a Monday, but I mean, I'd rather have it feel like a Monday than it be like, man, what am I gonna do today for work, or what am I gonna do today to, So I complain, but I feel very blessed.
Yeah, it's a flow.
So yeah. For sure. Yeah,
that's
but
good, man.
I know jumping into the new year, it's something different.
Oh yeah.
So
we were talking about that shooting at work the other day on the freeway.
Yeah, crazy stuff. We saw it on Saturday.
You guys drove by?
So we drove by it on Saturday. I don't know what time it happened, but we were coming back into Riverside about, I don't know, maybe like 2:00, 2:30, something like that. Maybe not even that late. And they had the whole westbound shut down. They were starting to have vehicles turn around and go and exit the on-ramp at Adams. So, I mean, we hit a little bit of traffic just because it was slow. You got all them looky-loos trying to look across the... Because all we saw, and we had no idea what it was, all we had seen was what looked like two cars collided, and they were just sitting there, and that was it. And then there was tons of... but there was everybody there, CHP, RPD, sheriffs, and then just a long line on the other side. And then, like I said, they started making people go on the off ramp and or leave the exit the on ramp to try and go. And we're like, dude, what the heck happened? And so we looked it up later, and they're like, oh, it was a shooting. So then that's when I asked you about it.
Yeah, a guy rammed the PD's car and just got out and started shooting at him.
So did they that second car must have just been in like an innocent bystander that was part of it.
That's what it sounds like.
Because there was 2 cars that we saw that were in pretty bad shape.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
My little cousin said that was his girlfriend's family's car. So I was like, man, it's a small world. It's a small world. It's a small world.
Yeah.
She said that the suspect's vehicle crashed into her family's vehicle, and now it totaled their car. He said it wrecked it out.
Yeah.
So, and then he jumped out of the car and started shooting at the cop, got in a little firefight, and jumped in his car, and they were running around the car.
That's crazy,
Yeah,
man.
that's
Crazy.
nuts, man.
See, it ain't just Washington where people are going crazy. It's everywhere.
Bro, everywhere.
It's everywhere.
And as a police officer, I'm like, damn, man, everyone's trying to kill us, man. Everyone wants, whether it's BLM, whether it's Trump, like the Trump people that were at the fucking thing. You just can't, like, they don't give a fuck about what you're trying to do. Like, when someone has an agenda, their agenda is king. And you know, everyone that was trying to storm the Capitol, and they were like, we don't give a fuck. Like, we have something to say. This is what we're going to do. I don't care. The police are here. You know what I mean? And so it's crazy, man. Crazy dynamic. It's a crazy dynamic because you never know where you're going to get it from.
Well, then it's just another thing, man. We say it. I feel like it's said over and over and over again, and it's beating a dead horse, but just another thing for us to be divided on.
Yeah, crazy.
Something for somebody to complain about, and then somebody on the other side to be like, oh, well, you didn't complain when this was going on. Oh, but look at what you guys are doing over here. Look at these people doing this. And I mean, it's just added to the list.
Yeah.
Added to the list of stuff that we already can't agree on. We already are fighting about and disagreeing about. It's super, super disheartening.
Yeah.
To see that kind of stuff and see what it does to people who are not involved.
Yeah.
To see what it does to people on the outside and how,
like how it affects them.
Yeah, and how people say stuff about it. I mean, even in the workplace, politics doesn't get talked a lot about on my side, but people have an opinion about it and they say something and then someone else says something about it, and you can already tell they're like, man, if you don't wrangle this in quick, it could get out of hand.
It's gonna get,
Not to mention what happens on social media.
Yeah.
Everybody feels like they can say whatever they want on social media with complete recklessness,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter. And I've said it before, but I am super glad that I don't have a social media thing to see, disagree with, and then just get mad. Because to me, it's not worth it unless somebody wants to have a dialogue. I'd love to talk all day.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue about it, and
I have a Facebook just because I have my VCQB instructor group, and one of the guys in there was the one that posted. That's how I found out about it. And then I found out about it when I went into work for overtime. But that's it. Like, I run across some shit on there, and I'm like, whatever, man.
Well,
but,
and I know we've been throwing around the idea, just for it to kind of help us get out there and putting together a page, for us for this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then stuff like this makes me hesitate, real heavy on what to do.
Man.
On is trying to navigate and run like a social media type page, along with everything else that you see on it. Is it worth the headache? Even though it might seem minor, is it worth it?
It has to be like a get in, get out type thing.
Right.
Like, get in, drop some shit, and then
bounce.
leave.
Yep.
And then just be like, whatever, I'm good.
Yeah. No notifications.
And then let
turn
the
off
rest
all
of the
notifications.
World. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Let the rest of the world go ape shit. Yeah.
Now I see why super popular celebrities follow 4 people.
Yeah.
So they don't have to worry about anybody posting anything. They follow exactly who they want. It's just they have a different circle.
Yeah.
But
it's a necessity, man.
With people like us, you get old friends from high school that want to follow you, and you don't want to be a dick and be like, well, I don't really want to follow you. So you give them a follow anyways.
Yeah.
And then they end up posting some stuff. You're like, dude, this is far out.
Yeah.
I'm not even trying to hear this. But then, yeah, it's just a weird dynamic and situation. But
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, we'll see.
I think like having knowledge of what people think and how they feel is very important. And also just the insight, you know what I mean? Especially being a police officer, the insight is useful. But yeah, it is. It gets too much. It's too much. And I'm like, I feel like I have a little bit of a roll off for it because you get people at work that be talking mad shit all the time. And you just kind of get used to like, I ain't gonna do anything.
Do you feel like law enforcement is more opinionated than like the normal
I
person?
think just as because they're normal people. So
Sure.
you have those guys that are just in there talking shit that are like just extremely opinionated. Where you're
Yeah.
like, man, shut up, man.
Yeah.
Did you go vote?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Then just shut up, man. Just be quiet. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's all. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting that, again, people, and that's one of the biggest things now that people are fighting for is the ability to still be heard, right? The First Amendment thing is this huge thing, right, where people are getting censored and people are getting shut down. And so we want to allow people to be able to be heard, but at the same time, you have the ability to be like, well, I don't want to hear it. And that's kind of the stance that some people take, when it comes to, right? It's easy if you don't want to hear it, then just don't follow it,
Right.
But you don't have to go and complain about it and get this person blocked or complain about their post and get it taken down and all
True.
this stuff. Because then it becomes like, where is how do we move forward if you don't hear what I have to say and I don't hear what you have to say?
Yeah, it's almost like you
There's
should
no
just go
progress.
your own direction then.
Yeah.
Because those
People
people
don't do
they'll continue to follow each other.
Yeah.
And continue to argue and shit. Where it's just like, bro, if you don't like what I'm saying, then just unfollow me.
Yes.
Like, just don't follow
Yep.
me.
Yep.
If you don't like my opinion and what I believe in, then just kick rocks, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to go that extra mile to talk shit or to try to threaten someone or et cetera, et cetera. That's BS.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Yeah, it's kind of weird, man. It's weird.
Yeah.
But we should, because we gotta get back into kicks and shit anyway. So we can just create like a little page, just post buy a cop,
I'm like, peace.
and then get
Yeah.
out.
Yep. Yeah. So but I did want to. So I wanted to ask, with the new year, right? We have the new year that just started. Well, it's the 11th today.
Yeah.
How do you feel about like New Year's resolutions?
The first thing that comes to mind is the gym, and I call them the resolutioners, the New Year resolutioners.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to hate it, bro. I hated New Year's. I hated January because from January to February, the gyms get flooded with people. And then you're just like, dude, these motherfuckers are not going to be here in another month. And now it's just like they're just kind of they're ruining my mojo right now, man. Like,
You got like 15 dudes waiting for the bench press because
Yeah.
everybody thinks they're gonna do 135 and be swole, big Arnold Schwarzenegger chests.
bro. Or like the dumbbells are lost everywhere. Everyone's taking up all the benches. Everyone's on a squat rack.
People don't know
all the
gym
girls are
etiquette.
trying to do their crazy ass workouts on the squat racks, and you can't go squat. And you're just like, damn, man. Like, and then on top of it, there's just people everywhere. There's a bunch of people in the gym. There's a bunch of people that it's like a social thing where everyone's just like standing around talking. Like, I've always been, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like, if that's what you do, you get into. But I always go to the gym, I work out, and I leave. Like, the gym's to work out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I work out, boom, 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 get my workout done, I'm done.
It's not social hour.
It's not at all. Like, I'm focused. I'm focused when I hit the gym. And so that's something that always bothered me. You know what I mean? But it's, I can kind of start to go down the rabbit hole. It's kind of like Valentine's Day. Like, I don't need a day to tell my wife that I love her.
Yeah.
Or I don't have to have a day where I'm like, I have to buy her flowers today. And everyone's going ape shit and you can't go out to eat and you can't do anything. You can't make any plans. It's insane to me. Like the idea, like I understand like having, I guess, some national recognized holiday. I don't know. But to me, like, For shit like New Year's resolutions where you have personal goals and goals in
Yeah.
your life, or something like Valentine's Day where it's like, hey, show your wife that you love her. It's like, that's unnecessary. That's an
Yeah.
unnecessary holiday. It's an unnecessary concept.
Yeah.
It's I've always hated it, man. Like,
Yeah.
this is new year, new me. Like, yeah, you're right, man. Like, I feel like, bro, you could do that any day.
Yeah.
Like, tonight we could be like, you know what, man? I'm not wearing my Chuck Taylors anymore ever again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool.
Completely irrelevant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy to me, man, where it's just like, but I think, you know, as an individual and many aspects of our life, spiritually, as an individual and whatever it may be, as a husband, as a boyfriend, as a friend, like, we can always strive to improve, and we can always strive to change, right? And to improve ourselves. Sienna was reading the other day that I think it was like these doctors were saying that humans shed like 3 ounces of skin a day or something like that. And like every like 2 to 3 weeks, like we completely like shed our skin and grow new skin, which is crazy.
What?
Crazy.
I've
Crazy.
I've never heard that.
Yeah,
before.
we were looking at the stats on it. So we were talking to the kids about it. And that's interesting, you know what I mean? Like everything in life is always progressing and learning. Viruses are adapting to life. So it's like it has to be something where you're just kind of constantly doing it.
Yeah.
But then there's a problem if every year I can't say it's bad, but if every year you're having to work on something,
Well, if every year it's the same one,
or it's the same
right?
shit.
Every January, you're like, I'm going to the gym.
Yeah.
And then they're the same person in February, they're never at the gym. Come around the next year,
They're like,
oh, this is the year I'm going to the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, bro, give it up.
Come on.
Pick a new one.
Yes.
You're not going to finish this one.
Figure it out.
Yeah. Be
Figure it
honest
out.
with yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think? What's your take?
Yeah, man. I like I said, I not everybody has like that hardcore discipline to be able to start something, to be able to jump into something brand new. And so I understand the idea of it being a chance and a marker to be like, okay, this is the day I'm going to start it. This is the universe's way of saying, hey, get it going.
Get your ass in the
But
gym.
then I look at people like Ronnie. Ronnie's mad disciplined. She goes to the gym 5 a.m. in the morning, multiple times a week. When she's on when she's on a diet thing, man, she's super strict. She's and it just seems to me like, man, like that's possible, right? It's possible. It just takes you doing it, you disciplining yourself and doing it.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot more gratitude you can find in yourself in doing something that way rather than waiting for somebody else to help you kick it off.
Them being fatty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree,
absolutely.
man.
Yeah.
I agree.
How do
I
you
agree.
feel? So do you, apart from New Year's resolutions, do you regularly, if at all, set goals for yourself personally?
Oh yeah, man, on a regular basis, dude. And it depends.
That's
you
my
know?
New Year's resolution to set goals for myself.
Is it set goals for yourself? Dude, you know what the hard thing is me having to like not set goals for myself, because I always find these interesting things and I always want to get like cameras and lights.
If you don't know Johnny, when he goes into something, there is no middle ground. It's this, boom, in it, 100%. It's crazy.
if mom
bro.
listens to this, she's gonna be like, yeah,
Yeah,
man, mom's always on me.
100%, bro.
Yeah, man.
But I appreciate it because you you throw yourself into it. Like, yo, this is, hey, why do this? If I'm gonna do something, I'm not gonna do it half-assed. I'm gonna do it all the way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no, for sure.
It's just I love to learn, man.
Yeah.
I feel like as a kid, like learning like school was whack.
Yeah.
Like the way school is set up is whack.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not like it wasn't conducive for like a conducive learning environment for myself. But I love to learn, and I'm able to retain information.
Yeah.
And I can pick the information up quick just because of that determination. But it was just the format of school I didn't really like. But now, like as I gotten older and through time as an adult, I like learning about new shit, man. I'm like constantly trying to like, this is cool. Okay, what do I get to learn? And Sienna, like, I told Sienna about it once, and she was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then she saw, like,
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I cannot go to sleep until I read this entire book
Yep.
right now.
Yeah, it's a
You know what I'm saying?
different level.
Yeah, dude.
Different level.
I don't even know. I don't know why or how, but it's just like, I have to know.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, cool, I got it. Let me figure this out. But so yeah, I'm constantly setting goals, and I would say the most consistent goals that I have every year is managing my time, being on time. I was on time today.
Yeah,
I
that's
was on
true.
time
That's
last
true.
time.
That's true.
I've been on
That's
time.
true.
I'm
That's
on a
true.
roll, bro.
That's true.
Like better time management, and that's just like something I've been constantly just working on throughout the years. And like for work, I always try to train. I always try to train.
Yeah.
So that's like a goal to hit like at least one or two things and learn something new.
Yeah.
And like challenge myself. Like don't just try to get really good at one thing, but like learn some other shit. So
Right.
like I haven't had a lot of structured training, so I want to really get into like we have that build class in Maryland that we'll be out there for, and then I want to do some structured training. So that's like a goal I want to get into this year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's one thing that I don't that I don't do on a regular basis. I don't really set many goals for myself. If there's something that I want to do, I don't know that it's necessarily something where I'm like, okay, well, this is something I'm going to get into, or this is something I kind of just, I either do it or I don't do it, right? It's not like this is something I have to do. This is something I'm absolutely going to do. Nothing like that. Like I always feel like it's just, if something comes up and it's something that I'm interested in, or I want to do it, or I want to try it, or I want to get into it, then I'm going to do it, right? It's never, I mean, take jiu-jitsu, for example, right? I started jiu-jitsu.
I got to start jiu-jitsu this year, by the way.
Yeah. We both I got to get back into jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
But like I started jiu-jitsu. I did it for a solid, like 4 years. Of course, my goal was to get my black belt. That was the goal all along. But things happen.
Yeah.
Things change.
Yeah.
Life happens. And I made an adjustment. And I haven't done jiu-jitsu now for like 2.5 years or so. And I miss it. I absolutely miss it. It's to me, it's not only physically, but like mentally and for like your confidence. And it's such a good thing to know and to have.
It's a very humbling experience.
Absolutely. Yeah. It'll make the biggest, baddest, meanest of men feel so inadequate when it comes to being able to defend yourself.
Yeah.
But I'm currently not on that path to getting my black belt, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it in the sense of there's other stuff that's come up, and I made an adjustment. It's not like it's something that I absolutely need to do, right? I absolutely need to finish my black belt. I have to get it. I don't care if I never get it, whatever. If I do get the chance to jump back into it, I'll absolutely take that advantage too. So I've never been like a big goal setter, and I don't know. I think it would take some time and some really like big self-reflection to realize if it's helped me or hurt me long term in my life. If I've never been like the goal setter, even in my work now. Starting at the very bottom where I did, it was never a goal to be where I'm at now.
Oh,
never.
Okay. So
I never had the desire or the want to be in the position that I'm at now. They just opportunities arose.
Okay, it was
the opportunities arose, and I went for them. Right. The doors open. I walked through the doors that were there. I realized the doors that were closed, those are not for me. And just kind of move, kind of, try to be fluid, right? Like Bruce Lee said, be like water.
Yeah.
Right? So that's kind of the path that's been going. We talked about it in a couple shows ago about being young fathers.
Yeah.
Of course, neither one of us planned to be fathers that young.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like that's kind of like been the path of my life progressing. Is something comes up, you adapt, you deal with it. if an opportunity arises, you either take it or you say, no, that's not for me. And you kind of just move on. So that's kind of been how I've navigated life up until this point. It's never been a goal setter. And maybe I'm sure it's got a little bit to do subconsciously with not wanting to be a failure, quote unquote, right? Setting a goal and then not completing it. It's not a good feeling.
Yeah.
Especially if it's something you really want to do or you want to get into, or you want to see out through to completion, I'm pretty sure no one likes feeling like, dang, I didn't do it.
with your sense of morality, for sure. Knowing that you said it and you're like, oh, I didn't do it.
Right.
Like, you're going to be like, down. Yeah, definitely. I feel the same way about that.
Yeah. Do you think that there's ever a time when a goal or a plan should be abandoned? And if so, do you think it's circumstantial, like something or do you think it's you're able to say like, this is not going the way I wanted it. This is not how I saw it going. So I'm just going to pull out of this thing that I had planned and goal set.
Yeah, I think so, man. There's always a necessity depending on like, I always try to like pre-plan stuff or to like even getting into like camera shit is like, okay, like knowing how far down the rabbit hole I can get. Like how like I have to pre-plan. I know that ahead of time. Like, okay, should I get this camera or should I even mess with it to begin with? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because like, okay, the money, it's gonna be expensive. It's gonna take a lot of time, and it's gonna be those late nights up trying to learn shit, right? To where like Sienna's gonna be like, oh, this is annoying, or I'm like, hold on, babe, let me try to get my exposure.
Couple more minutes.
Hold this great card, babe. Yeah, I mean, she's
hold
like,
that position.
Yeah, I don't.
Jump in there. I want to get you an action shot. Before she knows it, she's just done 50 like jump squats.
She's like, bro, if you grab a camera, I don't want to be anywhere near you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, you kind of have to understand. Like, I would say, if it were advice, I would say definitely you got to do your homework ahead of time because there's a higher chance of abandoning your goal if you're not prepared, if you're not mentally prepared about what you're trying to do and why it's important to you, then your goals it's gonna go out. It's gonna go by the wayside.
That makes a lot of sense for you and your personality because you go in hard. If it's someone just casually trying to get into something, they don't necessarily have to be as prepared as someone like you.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're not as prepared to go into it, you're right. You're gonna be like, yo, this. I wasn't prepared for how much I want to be in it and how much it's actually taking from me. Yes. Whereas someone who's the casual person about it, it's a completely different story. Yeah. So,
because if it's casual, I mean, and that's where the circumstances come in too. If it's something that's casual, where it's like, I know I'm not gonna go hard in it. Like if I do abandon that goal, I don't really care. It's just kind of like it doesn't bug me at all. Like it's just like a one, like oh that's all right, man. It was fun.
Yeah,
and that's it. You know what I'm saying? You can kind of move forward from there. But
and you don't have to be specific. But has there ever been a goal where you've been Johnny in it, but you've had to pull out, or you've had to not be able to see that goal all the way through? That you can think of?
I don't know, man, because usually I...
Yeah, I know.
Usually I do it. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay, that wasn't for me.
Yeah. All that time, all that effort, all that money later, you're like, nah, I guess it wasn't. I didn't want to do it.
Man. I don't know. Like the one things that have been consistent is like guns and shooting and... guns and shooting has been like extremely consistent and then especially camera stuff for sure. Yep. But I feel like I did buy a lot of camera shit at one point and then I kind of let it go by the wayside. I wasn't really messing with it. And then I got back into it. And, it's,
do you feel like your goals have to have, can they be something that just is? They don't have to necessarily bring some sort of like satisfaction as far as like an improvement to you or to somebody else. It's just something you enjoy to do. Do you think that there's something like that? Because obviously with guns, it benefits you tremendously in your line of work, right? But like the camera stuff, obviously you love taking pictures of people and capturing moments and stuff like that. But is there something where it's just something that you enjoy yourself that's not, it doesn't positively or negatively affect somebody else. It's just something that, or do you feel like they're the most fulfilled and they're the most enjoyable when they also benefits me or somebody else?
I feel the most fulfilled when it benefits me and someone else.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing that I can think of, and that's what gets kind of frustrating about my individual goals.
Yeah.
Is that like at work, like the even with shooting, the goal it was like guns are tools at the end of the day. Like I love shooting, I love guns, but I'm not gonna go crazy over them because I do understand, and I have the understanding in my mind that like I have to learn how to maneuver these things. Like I have to know how to work and run these things hard as fuck, and and that's just like I'm gonna go hard to learn that and to make sure I understand it and I learn it. But there are points and times where I'm like, okay, I feel good, like I feel comfortable, and but I think that everything that I do, all the goals that I do set, like there has to be a meaning behind the goal.
Okay.
Like if you're, to me in my mind, like if I'm gonna exert the energy, there has to be a reason why. You know what I'm saying? Like even with us in our podcast, like this is our time. This is my time. With my best friends, my brother. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's like there's so much meaning to it.
For sure.
To where like that's what gives me the energy to go so hard.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
even at work with like going into like with shooting and shit, it's like that's the last thing that I want. Like if you get ambushed, like if like the ultimate worst case thing is getting ambushed at work,
Yeah.
right? Like especially like what happened to Andre, and Andre is just a great guy, but the anger and what that does to you, like even
Yeah.
to this day I'm still angry about it, and like that motivates me to like work harder.
Yeah.
Like there is no such thing as a day off at that point because it's like, you know, I just don't want to. I don't know if it's like a competitive thing as well. Like there's kind of a multitude of things that
Right.
intertwine with that
Right.
that determination.
Right. Well, I think from the outside, specifically with the guns and the shooting things, but from the outside, right, the majority of the people would be like, dude, right, I'm sure one of the first questions when people hear somebody's an officer is, have you ever shot anybody? Have you ever used your gun? Where they see it as like this kind of like easygoing whatever topic, but I'm sure like deep down as you think about it and as you go through it and as you're out there in the field dealing with the people that you're dealing with, the very last thing that any officer ever wants to do ever is have to pull their gun.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? To make those split-second decisions, to know that their life is on the line as well as the life of somebody else. It's got to be like a tremendous burden, right? And then, right, that's like you're saying with what you've experienced and what you've seen with fellow officers and stuff like that. That's why something like this obviously is goal oriented, but it's also very driven by something that you live each and every day, right? Protecting yourself, protecting your partner, being able to go home at the end of the night to your family.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very. It's not motivated just by nothing, right? You
Yes.
have a passion for it, but the passion is also fueled by a lot of things,
Yeah.
right? That may not be right there in front, right?
Yes.
Just, I want to be, the best officer.
Yeah.
Sure, but there's other things too that also
Yes.
fuel that thing. So
Yeah, so there's definitely like a multitude of things. Like it really is. Like I would say my biggest thing is like memories in my life is like memories with the kids and being able to capture them. That's where like the video and
Yeah, for the
audio
camera
shit
stuff.
comes in, and that's where that comes in.
yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously not being much of a goal a goal
Like,
maker. No, man. Yeah, so but comparatively, I definitely look at, and I'm not saying that someone who has goals doesn't see it as a blessing, but I look at the circumstances that have put me in the places that I am now and realize the blessing that it is to have it, right? Having a child at 18 years old, realizing like, man, I need, there's a moment, there's a split now where you either have to you have to make decisions that are going to affect a lot of people
Yes.
in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
So, right, the fact that I had a child so young has step by step, incrementally, sometimes slower than others, put me exactly where I'm at now. And each step of the way, like I said, was never a goal to be this. It was never a goal to be this, to be this. It just happened. Circumstance happened.
Okay.
This opened up. This came through. This being able to help out in this area, being able to volunteer doing this, and get my hands in all these little things. It's never one day I want to be this. It's just me doing me, and then this thing happening. But I look at it as like a blessing, and I feel like those moments where I'm like, man, this sucks, dude. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm having a bad day, whatever. It reminds me very quickly, like, this is a huge, huge blessing and that I have, and the opportunity that I have. I'm here now, and I have to use this to be the best that I can be, to be the best leader that I can be, to be the best whatever. So it's not so much what I seek out is driven by something. It's what I have. It's what I have is what keeps me going in that direction, right? So yeah, at the same time, you have your goals right. You have a push to finish out your goals and to keep driving. I have a push that's keeping me going in that direction, right? That's keeping me moving forward. So it's not so much again goal setting. And trying to reach those, this is what I have now, and this is what I want to do with what I have, right? Because even from now, I have, like I said, I never thought I'd be where I'm at now. It would be, I could set a goal to say, hey, I want to go even further, but that's not. I just want to be the best version of this that I'm in now,
Yes.
right? And it's kind of takes I think the pressure off of trying to get that for me. The pressure of trying to move forward. It allows me to focus on this.
Okay.
To be the best and be present.
Okay.
Rather than try to be half in here and half. I'm not saying it can't be done, but maybe I just think I can't do that.
Yes.
I can't be the best and try to strive for that other thing as well.
I understand when you're saying like, look, I'm just letting my life flow. You know what I'm saying? And I've always been that way.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know, even in my last relationship, we were together for like almost 11 years.
Yeah.
And Sienna asked me one day, like, what did you think and how did you feel? Like, what did you see? What did you hear? You know, and I'm kind of like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. It wasn't like I really sat down and really thought about everything to where I was like, I don't know.
Right.
You know, so it was like, I do find goals in life, but now this is what I guess I'm going to try to allude to kind of what you're saying too, is like, because I can see what you're saying is like, when you set goals, are you looking for something in your life, or what are you looking for, or what are you trying to attain?
In a sense,
to where it's like,
that,
okay, like I have this in my life and this is where I'm focused on and this is where I'm at. Like I'm living in my present self, in my present sense. And that is so important, right? And that's where it kind of goes back to where I was saying like about like guns and like goals with guns. Like I love guns, but at the end of the day, it's just a tool.
Yeah.
Right. So, and having that knowledge and ability of how the tool works, the functioning, if you need it, you know what to do. You're not, it's myelinated in your brain. You know what to do. It's essentially muscle memory. Right. But on a daily basis, yes, it is. It's like it's understanding who you are.
Yeah.
And I think that there's definitely a fine line between understanding who you are as an individual, what your life is and what's important in your life, between like shit that you want to obtain. Right? Because a lot of times I think sometimes like you can have, would you still consider it as a goal if it's something that you're working on as an individual? Like say if it's something where it's like, hey, I want to spend more time with like playing baseball with Jetro, or if
Yeah.
I'm gonna go play baseball with Booba.
Yeah.
Is that considered a goal, or is that you were like being like, no, I got to spend, it's just time management
Yeah.
as a dad?
So that's perfect. I would see that as something that I need to adjust in my life to get that to be the best version of a father that I can be. Yeah, there is a sense of what a goal would be in that, right? I am setting a but I see a goal as like there's an end point at some
Okay,
point.
at some point.
Whereas I'm never gonna stop being a dad. I'm never gonna stop wanting to have that quality time with Jet or with any of with the girls. I just want it to be, if it's an adjustment that needs to be made, it's obviously something that I need to adjust and continue to improve and continue to make work in the current circumstance and
So
situation.
it's an adjustment, not a goal.
Right. Right. Yeah. Because it's not something like, like I said, I just feel like it's not something that I'm gonna. Oh, I got that. I'm good now. Nothing else needs to happen.
Yeah.
I can either continue to do this,
Okay.
or I can stop now. No. Now it's something that needs to be tweaked, and tweaked here and tweaked there, and you know what I mean. Like I just feel like there's several examples that I can think of where just doing the things that I do, again, opportunities have presented themselves. It was never a goal, but I was able to just jump in and fulfill whatever is that was going on. And in that, again, no goal was set to, I want to keep doing this. I want to get to this next position, next thing. It's just let me do this now and be better at this. If there's conversations that need to be had where I need to make adjustments, then we'll do it that way.
So would you call it like a ultra high level of like self-awareness? In the sense that like on a daily basis you're constantly reflecting or meditating on yourself.
Yeah,
and like, okay, this is what I need to do. Like, this is how I'm moving today.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about like, what do I need to try to accomplish and what I need. It's like, okay, what do I have in front of me and how do I?
So in one
this?
sense, yes, I feel like I'm very self-aware of how I'm doing things, how maybe things are seen, but that doesn't always translate for me to the adjustment. A lot of times I see it after the fact. And maybe I'm just too stubborn in my ways in some aspects where I'm like, well, I'm not going to change it. That's just how I am. I feel like I move through with this thing, whatever it is, and I do well with it, even though it's whatever.
Okay.
And sometimes having that self-awareness of what's going on, and how I'm navigating things doesn't always translate to me making the fix.
Yes.
Right? Sometimes it has to have, like, I've had conversations with Ronnie about things that I want to do as a dad. Like, I'd like to do this. I'd like to start implementing this. And that doesn't always translate right away. It doesn't always happen right away. It doesn't always like manifest immediately in me being able to make that transition or that adjustment. But yeah, I do feel like I am very self-aware, but the lazy part of me is like, okay, you know about it. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. Just sit back and chill on it right for a little bit.
But it's funny, like you said something very interesting. Like, a goal is something, a part of your life in which it has a start and an end, right? And you're when you look and you meditated on your life and you have that basis or like an understanding as a father, as a husband, as a friend, there is no end point. Like, there's a beginning, but there is no end. Like, the only end is like the end of life, right? Like, you're dead. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's an interesting perspective, man.
But like, is it a goal to be a good husband? Is it your goal?
No, it's your responsibility.
It's your response. It's what you are called to do as a husband, right? That it never ends. You're never going to be like, I'm the greatest husband. I do no wrong. My wife would like everything. No, there's people that have been married 75 years where they're still working on it, bro.
Bro,
you know what I mean?
That's deep because I think this is something that gets a lot of people in trouble, and you're completely right? Like in a marriage, it's something you're constantly working on, you're constantly evolving. So now when you look at life and people who have the perspective of I need to set goals versus I need to make adjustments, right? And it's kind of like people, I always thought this was interesting, like people who aren't Christian that get married, right? The institution of marriage
Yeah.
is based upon, in my opinion, a
Absolutely.
Christian
It's
foundation, right? But it's almost like it's a goal, like the goal of like achieving the American dream becomes a goal versus and then that goal becomes a lifestyle. So now they're always trying to obtain or trying to attain something in
Right.
their life, and you're never going to be satisfied. You know what I mean? You'll never be
Right.
satisfied at that point, and that's interesting. So I do agree with that, because if you don't know, if you don't know who you are, your goals are going to run your life. If you don't understand who you are,
Yeah.
if you don't have that awareness, goals are always going to be something that you always have to set, because if you don't have a goal, you're going to be lost.
right. Is there something fueling these goals, or is the goal or is the goals themselves or the goal itself what your hope is of just perpetual motion? Is the
Yes.
goal it's moving you in
Yes.
itself, or is there something else
Yeah.
that's pushing you to get these things, to do these things, to become this person?
Yeah. Like what or who is at the center of that axis? Is it you?
Right.
And the goal, yeah, or is it the goal?
But
And you're just running around in circles.
right, and to be fair too, right? The reason we have some of the most amazing technology and successful people right now is because these were goal oriented people, right? They had a goal.
Yeah.
They set themselves a goal to do something, to make something, to invent something, to put something out for other people or whatever the case is. So there's obviously no knock on goals. That's how we get a lot of this stuff. It's just, I think, the aspect of what that means.
Like understanding the intricacies and the fine lines between self-awareness and goals.
Yeah, because to me, although the material things and the ability to obtain things, it's a real thing, right? People really feel that kind of stuff. You take all that away, what do you have?
What do you have? Yes.
Right? What is your foundation built on?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Is it firm? Is it, what are you now nothing because you have nothing?
Because you have nothing. You're right.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it so? Do you think, because you're obviously you mentioned there are goals that you set and you go really hard. Do you see that in your kids? Or your kids goal setter? Is that something you try to teach them and try to have them do? Because we tried it. We tried doing like a goal, like a little goal sheet. Write down 3 goals on it for this week. We try to keep it simple, right? Don't make it outrageous. Don't say I want to be able to run a mile in 4 minutes, right? But just keep it obtainable, keep it simple, and keep it achievable, and make it short, right? And we tried it with the kids. I think because I'm not a big goal person, I didn't push really hard for them to do it. I do think there's a lot of benefit in it, right? It gets people in the idea of doing, especially the kids. They don't have a lot on their plate as far as what they're trying to achieve in a sense, right? Other than being good students or whatever. So I think it's something good to instill in them early, that if they want something, to try their hardest to go after it and try to get it done. But it was a failure on my part as a parent, because it wasn't something that I necessarily saw necessary, and I didn't really push it on them that hard.
I've never pushed it on the kids, but I've always, and I kind of go into like even my goals, like mentally, my mind's always moving like a million miles per hour, right? So part of like the goals that I have that I have in my life kind of help me focus.
Yeah.
Right? Outside of like my self-awareness and who I am and what I'm trying to do and what I have to do, especially for the family, right? Because the family always comes first, right? But with the kids, I've always have focused on trying to understand who they are, of me having an awareness of what they like and what they're into. Like with Sadie, we can't really push Sadie to do anything. Like if she like starts to break down. It has to be a decision that she makes.
Yeah.
And then when she makes a decision, it has to be something that's gradual. Like she's very observant, and so it's like I have to kind of navigate the waters with like navigating with her, not like kind of pushing her in that direction. Because if you push her, like she'll fold.
Yeah.
To where Bubba has like a sense of determination and a sense of like even since he was a baby, like he just like when he does something, he like it's kind of weird because I think it's still something that's developing, and I don't know exactly how what direction it's going to go into. But he's very meticulous. Like he's very, and that's it. It is kind of a lot like how I am, where like
Right.
I put my things in a certain place. I do this. I do this. Like you can Oliver can like we could buy him a toy, and it can like it could go missing for 3 months, and you could be like, hey Bubs, where's that little army guy that I bought you? He'll be like, oh, I'll go get it right now, and he'll run and be like, here it is. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like everything that he does is very meticulous. It's very intentional.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And so, and I guess that it's weird because it's a little bit of both. Because I lived a lot of time of like just being like, and then I became a little more intentional with trying to control.
Yeah.
But I have to remember and realize like I can't control too much. That's like a whole nother conversation and topic. So then it becomes less intentional and more of like, okay, let me sit down and meditate here.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. I don't necessarily see, especially with how the kids act, right? They tend to either pick up, it's either nature or nurture. They have a lot of tendencies, right, that the parents have. So I don't necessarily see them as like goal setters. Now, to be fair, Charlie, when she was in school, in one of, I can't remember what grade it was, but she had set a goal for herself. And it was something that she had already had a passion for. So she had a drive pushing her towards this thing. She's like, I'm going to do this. So was reading. She's like, I'm going to do this anyways because I love to read.
Yeah.
Now I have almost like, it's like a runner, right, who loves to run. They're going to go try and do a century run, right?
Yeah.
They're going to go try to do like an Ironman or something crazy,
Yeah.
right? The peak of that. So she was something like, I'm going to read so many words. Everyone had a goal as a class to read X amount of words. Well, she said, I'm going to read that amount of words every semester or trimester, whatever it was. So I'm going to read triple the amount of words. And she hit it, right? And that was a goal. But it was something that was already fueled by something she already had a passion for.
Like she was able to develop
It wasn't like a new thing. Like, oh, I'm gonna become. I have a goal to become a ballerina, and now she's doing ballet. No.
Yeah.
Right, I think you mentioned it earlier. You're less likely to finish something that you don't really have. You don't really care about.
Yeah.
Right. It's just some inanimate thing that you decided to jump into.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think the kid. I haven't noticed really the kids being goal setters. Which, like I said, I think it's worth another try and another push to do something like that. To be a little more diligent on them about seeing things all the way through, because I think it's helpful too in showing them to, if you're going to start something, to see it to finish it.
Yes, definitely. You have to.
Yeah,
You
and
have
just
to.
in life and in anything that you do.
Yeah.
You know?
Because that's a slippery slope to go down if you start learning that, like, hey,
That quitter mentality or whatever.
yeah, you can quit or you can be like, oh, this isn't for me. You know what I mean? Especially relationship wise, and especially with, whether it's a friendship, an acquaintance, or a spouse or an intimate relationship. You know, those intricacies can easily get them caught up in some shit. Yeah. So yeah, it's weird, man. It's a weird thing, Like there's certain things, like with Sienna always feels like we have to put the kids in sports. Like there's no question, we got to put them in sports. And I'm like, I don't mind, but then again, right? Like when we played football, I was like, I have to be the fastest person.
Yep.
And I'm always like, and it's not a competitive thing with someone else. Like I'm not trying to compare myself.
Yeah.
Like I just I want to get faster, and I want to see myself get faster. Like
Yeah.
the development and as an individual, like my development and the pursuance of that development is like, I don't know why I geek out on it. I just do.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
really geek out
No,
on that shit.
it's. I mean, it's obviously it's led you to many of the the successes that you've had already, right? And your ability to be so like entrenched in that thing, right, and know that thing, and it's not a flippant thing for you. It's something that you've attached to and that you're into. It's not here today, gone tomorrow kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people that's kind of, especially with how things work today, right? Everything's so fast paced.
Yes, man,
To jump from one thing to another is so easy to do.
Yes, yeah.
So easy to do.
Yeah, easy.
So
It's very obtainable.
Yeah.
But that's like you can go haywire doing that shit, man.
yeah,
In my
you
mind.
run yourself ragged.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
ragged.
crazy. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
So
Do you have any goals that you've set for yourself so far that you're still in pursuit of, or you haven't started yet?
Time management.
Bro, that's one of those unobtainable goals.
I don't
man.
know, bro. I've been on time, bro. But I usually get to work. Like work starts at 2100, and I'm there at like 20:52, and I'm like, man, I've gotta fucking get up earlier, man. But 8 o'clock hits, and I'm like, dude, it only takes me like 6 to 8 minutes to get to work. I'm like, dude, I can leave at 8:50.
Yep.
And you know what? And it's nothing crazy. Like, and that's one of the biggest things. Like, if I do set a goal, it will be something that if I have to abandon it, I can.
Right.
Like, if I can't go to the shooting range, I don't really care. Like,
Yeah.
you
It's
know
not
what
a
I'm
make or
saying?
break.
It's not a make or break, right? But like, I'm gonna be on time to a degree, but it is less stressful.
Yeah.
Just like having to have the determination to be like, hey, at 8 o'clock, I'm in the shower, I'm getting my clothes,
Yeah.
I'm doing this, and I'm going to bed or I'm going to work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's difficult. That's
Yeah.
hard because
Yeah.
when I'm at home and I'm around the kids in Siena, I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah,
This is where I wanna be.
Even if I'm just laying
That's
down,
where I wanna be.
Yeah, even
Yeah.
if I'm like, hey guys, I'm gonna go lay in my room.
Yeah.
Like you guys can play, I'm gonna lay in the room. But the comfort and of being at home and knowing we're all here, everyone's safe, everyone's okay. Like that's like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to work. I'll just go to work. I don't mind going to work, but I don't want to get up.
I'm not gonna get there earlier than I have to be there.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll spend every moment
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. That's the hardest thing we had. That's the long conversation we had with Ron. And Ron's giving me a hard time about time management. Is I'm just like, yeah, man, like I don't, even for work, like why am I going to go to work an extra hour early? I'm not getting paid for it.
right.
Like I could be at home catching the rest of the show with Sadie or Oliver or talking to Sienna versus being like, oh, I got to leave.
Right. Do some extra paperwork that can be done while you're getting paid.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll do that when I get there.
That was something I struggled with in the beginning with the position that I'm in now, being in a management position, was giving a lot of myself to work in terms of extra, right outside of my work hours, because I felt like there was a lot of people that were looking to me for certain answers, direction, that kind of stuff, and I wasn't, because it wasn't something I had prepared for to be in the position that I am. I was like so frantic, I want to do a good job. I don't want to be seen as a failure. I don't want to be seen as a lame, as a bum. Like I want to do a good job, and it stressed me out. But again, knowing I'm gonna do again, and obviously I think time went through it, and the guys that I have working, like their confidence in me and their the unity that we have, it's kind of made it a lot easier to realize like everything's gonna be okay. It doesn't have to be at 1,000,000 miles an hour. It might take a little slower if no one's spending that extra hour on top of their outside of their work time. But it'll get done, and we'll do it right and do it the right way. So that was a struggle at first for sure. That that extra thing that kind of pulls you in, right? And it was a thing where I would be at home checking my phone when I'm not at work, and it'd be a thing between me and Ronnie. You checking your phone again? You're not even working.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know, but what if one of the guys needs me? What if something happens? What if I'm unreachable? You know. But it's all worked itself out, right? And time's kind of helped that out too. So
what's your goal? What's your goal that you have?
man, so obviously to be the best, you know, in the position that I am,
Okay.
for sure.
So as far as work goes, Okay.
yeah. And then obviously the stuff that falls in line with the stuff we talked about with being a father and being a husband. I think one of the things that I've struggled with since the pandemic started was definitely with my my walk, like my Christian walk, and specifically like with church and stuff.
Yeah.
I felt like it's been a big struggle of mine with just the way that everything's went down, and kind of realizing and understanding and coping that although the church does have a role in what I do and who and you know my life, I have a lot to be accountable for as well. So I think the goal for me is to get myself as firmly rooted in this. It was a big wake up call. You know, I don't know that I relied on the church too much for a lot of things, but I did rely on them for a lot of things.
Okay.
That not necessarily that's not what the church is there for. They're there maybe to help and to assist with that, but that's not their main goal. You know, that's not a pastor's main goal. That's not, you know, the church's. It's us as
Individuals.
as followers of Christ, and it was a big wake up call that there's things that I need to do and I need to put a lot more effort into and a lot more intentional time into. And I think one of the things that I always, and we could absolutely call it a goal, but I'm always trying to seek truth. I always want to know what is true. I'm a firm believer in absolute truth.
Yeah.
I believe there's absolute truth. And I am something that I've been very interested in for a very long time is like why other people believe other things and why they follow other things. And I think in that, it's helped me have stronger roots in what it is that I believe in, right? One of the analogies that I've heard used several times is if you have somebody that's got fake money, right, and you want to know if it's fake money, you don't bring in someone who knows about fake money, or you don't bring someone to compare. You bring in an expert on real money, right? If they know what the real authentic thing is, they can tell you what the fake thing is. So the more I know and the more that I'm rooted and the more I learn about what the authentic real thing is, the better I'm going to be able to spot the fake. The better I'm going to be able to guard myself from this other stuff that could be distracting and you know, and especially in a world like now, like where everything is divided, everything is all over the place. You know, I want to be able to know that amongst all the mayhem, amongst all the yelling and the fighting and the this and the that, what I have and what I have here in my household is rooted in truth, and it's rooted in what is real. Yeah.
Because that's like a whole nother deep conversation,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And it's funny because we talk about this. We talk about it. We've had numerous conversation about spirituality. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I have those things as an individual too, is like, do I not go to church enough? Mm-hmm. And that was one of the things I thought about before, is like, what is the purpose of church? And what direction should church be going in, mm-hmm. right? As a community, as a whole, right? And there was this pastor, the sermon that I heard once, where he said that, you know, when you think about the Holy Trinity in the sense of like thinking about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, right? He said, like, as an individual, you have to live your life with the same guidance of a Holy Trinity as an individual, in the sense that you have to understand who you are, have self-awareness as an individual, before you could truly love someone else and understand others. And then once you're able to comprehend that and understand that realm of space of time is when you'll truly start to understand who God is and understand God through that level of spirituality. And then then you'll start to understand spirituality and grow through spirituality. And I don't look at that as a goal. It's not necessarily a goal because I think in life and in spirituality and our interaction with God, we all meet Him and we all meet our level of spirituality and what we're doing as a given time for a given reason, right? So it's like you've always gone to church, right? You're a very strong Christian man, a strong Christian father, right? But now at this point in your life, right, COVID and the circumstances have led you to look at spirituality in another way. And now this is going to be another realm or another sense of growth that's going to put you into another realm of spirituality as an individual. But the foundation that you have already is so deep and so strong rooted where it's super dope. But I think that it's definitely confusing. And I think that I even I tend and we all tend and this is an opinion. I think that we all kind of are always looking for absolute truth and we're always trying to be able to identify it because, and I always tell people this, especially the arguments that I've had, or I'm not going to say an argument, the conversation that I had with people who are non-believers, who don't believe in God, right, is you have to understand that in life there's always an opposite to whatever there may be, right? If there's an absolute truth, there's an absolute fallacy. And how is that, how do we find that in our life and how is it subjected to our lives, right? It's no different from like the devil asking Eve in Genesis, like, is God really gonna, like, are you really gonna get in trouble? Like, as simple as a simple question can really determine the direction and the path of life that we take as individuals, right? Dude, we can get deep as fuck in this, Jay.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? But that's where it does come into like I find myself too as well as like I should be more involved in the church. You know what I'm saying? I should go to church more. And I don't want to sound like a dick when I say this, but I feel like spiritually, I'm looking for something else. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like spiritually, I'm not looking like I'm not like my soul isn't gonna be fed by going to church and kind of like hearing the sermon for the day. Like that's just part of like the growth. It's like let's say if I were to be shooting, right? That's like going to the shooting range and practicing fundamentals. You know what I'm saying? But like really figuring out like, okay, what kind of regimen do I need and what kind of regimen should there be to understand and to experience that level of growth as an individual?
Right.
Which is crazy. Like it's
And that comes with
hard.
understanding too what your purpose is as what your obligation is, right? In your walk, what the obligation of a pastor is, what the obligation of the church is, what the obligation of the body is. Like those are all, they all have their designated purposes, right?
Yeah.
And you know, and that's something again that I'm with what's going on with all that's transpired is something that I obviously want to know more of because I never want to place blame on something or somewhere that it doesn't belong, right? I need to be self-reflective and I need to realize I got to take accountability for what I am and am not doing. And I need to look for these people for what they are supposed to provide to me.
Yes.
Not for something extra, not for anything more, and not hold them to any other accountability that doesn't fall on them.
Yeah.
Because then I'm not allowing myself to really understand and realize where I have faults and where I mess up.
Yes.
You know, so
it can mask it. It can definitely mask it, and then you can. It's easy to get lost in that sense. But you're right. It does. going to church on Sunday and being around people who are like-minded, who believe in the same thing and are spreading the same word and are sharing word is a necessity.
Yeah.
It is. And it's more of a necessity. You know, that's where like the evangelistic pastors, you know, like they're always focused on bringing new people in and more people. And it's, I feel that like, I don't really, I'm not even gonna. I just feel like it's the goal is to bring people in, and then it's like, okay, well, what do you do now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? What do you do now?
Sure.
Like, how do we grow and how do we learn how to meditate? How to become more self-aware as an individual, so your individual self grows, and then your individual self gives to others.
Yeah. See, I think I might. I think I may have a different outlook on this on the steps there, and it'd be something that I'd obviously I'd have to do a little more. I guess you could say research and thought on. But I think the ultimate display, right, of God and Christ is obviously is self-sacrifice. So it has the opposite to do with self and what you are to yourself, right? You right Christ sacrificed himself, right? The fully God, fully man for us. And that's the example we are to follow.
Yeah.
So at any cost, I mean, it cost him his life,
Yeah.
right? So at any cost to sacrifice ourselves, no matter what we have and what we are, for others before anything else. I think that that's the root and that's where it starts for us. But
I agree. And even in the Bible, right, when we look at the idea or concept of of selfishness, selflessness, right? That it's one simple equation that would solve a lot of the world's issues, right? But I think that as an individual, when you realize and you succumb to, and I say succumb because we look at like purpose as an individual. I think in the eyes of God, our purpose is to you know, relish in God and to teach people who God is and just to be as close to God as we can. And by doing that, and one of the main things that God tells us to do is to be is to be selfless, right? And that's the most common, easiest thing to do. Like it's easy to say, like, "Hey, stop being selfish, Johnny."
yeah,
But it's really hard for
practice,
individuals. In practice,
yeah,
it's hard for people to do that,
yeah.
which is so crazy, right? Like that's the the mysteriousness behind it. And so knowing and understanding and being able to meditate yourself as a child of God and that you are a part of God and your Holy Spirit is a part of God and from God and understanding who you are as a child of God is an understanding that has to be obtained, I think, first. And I'm not even saying that's fucking I just like I as an opinion, I agree.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like you have to, you know what I'm saying? Because it's different, right? Like it's like if you're constantly doing something for people and just doing something for people just because you're like, I need to just do good things for people, right? There's always going to be a point in time where you're like, fuck this. I ain't doing good for nobody right now. I'm tired of doing shit for people.
Yeah.
Right. And it really is, right? When Jesus and when God and the constantly doing stuff for us and giving us these things and showing us these things and enlightening us, it's something that's constant. It's crazy because even at times I find myself always wanting more. You know what I mean?
That's our fallen nature as a human, as human beings.
Even when we pray, we're always asking God for shit. You know, I had a long conversation with Sienna about this. Like, when I was younger and I was a teenager, I was like, dude, I've got to stop asking God for shit all the time. Like, I don't. A prayer isn't to ask Him to give me shit. Like, prayer is just giving thanks.
Well, yeah, I heard it summed up as the way you should pray is the acronym ACTS: adoration, confession, and then I think the other one, I think it was telling, like so like asking God, like, but in that order, right? First revere who God is and understand who He is, right? And then obviously the whole idea and the whole simplicity, if you will, of being a Christian is confessing, right? That it's no matter what you do as an individual, it's never enough, right?
Yes,
You're a fallen man. You'll never obtain any ounce of ability to get in to heaven
Yeah.
by yourself. It's
Yeah.
all through Christ,
Yes. Yeah.
right? And confessing that, and that also leads into growth because you're aware of it because you're confessing it.
Yeah.
You know, so
That ability, that individual ability to succeed is unique, and it's something it sounds easy, but it's something that's very hard for humanity to do. And it does. It takes. I believe that it takes an extreme level of self-awareness to be able to do it. Like God says in the Bible, right? Like being a Christian is a decision that you make every second of your life, every single second. Every sleeping and waking second of your life, you have to consciously make the decision to be a Christian. And Christian is through actions, not through words, right? Being a Christian is through actions, not through words. And that's hard, man. It's just like earlier today, I was like, I'm not getting up right now. I'm going back to sleep. Right? And you're just like, damn, man, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's sex before wedlock. I remember making a lot of, out of wedlock, right? I remember making excuses. I remember like, God will forgive me.
everybody does it.
Or not even
Everybody
thinking
does
about
it.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Or like, just like, that's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
At least I'm not killing people. Right? But then that's that seed that can be planted in your brain. It's like, at least you're not killing anyone, Jaron. You should go ahead and do it. Right? But then now that self-awareness and that self-control is like, okay, I know what I'm supposed to do, and I just need to do it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's spiritually, like we can go into a whole, like a goal as a goal. Yes. Because spiritually, there's so much more that needs to be worked on that I can work on as an individual. Like, if I can go hard and learn how to shoot and become a great shooter, I can be a fucking great spiritual being, right? And so it's like being able to put that energy and that effort into it. Though.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a two-parter,
Bro.
that one.
Bro, we could go a whole nother hour. We're at an hour and 30, bro.
Yeah.
We could literally go hours into that shit. Because it's like, I think that God gives us so much, and the spiritual world too, right? The spiritual world gives us so many clues, and is constantly helping us and constantly nudging us in those directions as well, you know? And I look at, even as us becoming young fathers, there's so much that could have gone wrong. But also through the grace of God and that love and the spirituality that we have around us all the time, that's always in us, right? That helps guide us to the direction where we need to be, right? And when you think of true happiness, like we said earlier with goals, right? These material things is material shit.
Yeah.
Does that truly make you happy? No, it doesn't. You know what I mean? It's not going to, and that can probably be very subjective. You know, people will say like, oh, well, if you had a lot of money, would you buy a nice car? Fucking of course.
Right.
But I don't give a fuck about that.
Right.
I don't care about owning 10 houses or having a mansion or having a Lamborghini. That's irrelevant at the end of the day. That's minuscule in the book of life, in the book of memories. So it just gets to this point to where it's like, like the spirituality is like on a whole nother spectrum. Like we're gonna need some hours for that, bro.
Yeah.
Because
Time
it's
and time
just
and time
crazy
and time.
shit, crazy
Yeah.
shit, man. It's insane. Like and just the experiences and that's something me and David talk a lot about too. Because it's just like some of this shit's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid. I don't even.
Nope.
We should probably wrap it up. We'll wrap it up. We'll save this one. We'll save it. We'll save it. We'll save it.
I'm down with that.
But-
But yeah,
bro.
So to answer the question, the only goals is like it has to do with that.
Okay,
So,
I get that,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, that's kind of where
And it's challenging too. It's like
for sure. But again, it's a steady adjustment and progression forward.
Yeah,
You know,
I agree.
something that'll never be attainable obviously perfection or anything that looks like it, but
I
but
think in this human,
but
yeah,
the grasp at knowledge and at truth, you know, I think that's what keeps that aspect of things moving forward.
yeah,
So
yeah. I agree with you, man. In this human world, it's probably going to be unobtainable. Remember, God said, like in the big picture, our lives are a drop in the ocean. It's a drop of water in the ocean, is what we perceive and what's really going on. And but as long as you know, I have Sienna, I have the kids, got my boo boos, I'm good.
yeah,
I'm good.
yes, sir. All right, man. Good one.
Goodbye, boo.
Goodbye.
Dang, bro.
We went hard.